Well, hello. I'm going to start talking a little bit more clearer. Try to put a posh voice on. Never in a month of Sundays can I do that. Right, let's adjust my chair. What we're doing. That's it. Because I rock and rock and rock. I rock and roll. How are you doing, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Well, today, what I've done is I'm so sick of watching Prime Minister Starmer and his constant lies and his hypocritical thoughts. I thought yesterday I watched the P&Qs, Prime Minister's question times, and he did well. He opened his session by reading a prepared statement regarding the June 2026 North Belfast stabbing and the subsequent street violence. Now, a delivery that drew criticism from me and some other observers for its detached, unemotive tone. He is so bland. He didn't, when he reads the script, there's no emotion at all. He just looks down, then looks at the speaker and looks down and reads his notes, and you can see it's like he's chewing a rat in his mouth and it tastes bad, having to say something that he doesn't really care about, because he doesn't. You can see he's absolutely no feeling at all. I don't care what anybody says. The man, he's only got dead eyes anyway. Now the script delivered. Observers and opponents frequently criticised Starmer for his rigid reliance on pre-prepared scripts during the whatever he's doing. Let's just listen to the pre-prepared script, and of course the Speaker of the House. The difference is between the two. So I'm going to play this and listen to this first, and then see what you think. So this is like the opening speeches of P&M, Prime Minister's Question Time. And you'll notice some of the things that I've already said in Starmer's demeanour.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I know the thoughts of the House will be those affected by the events in Belfast this week. I should inform the House that charges have been brought against a man following the attack on Monday night. That case is now sub judice. It is possible that other charges may be brought, including respect of events in Belfast in the aftermath. I am granting a full waiver to allow members to discuss wider issues raised in the context of this incident. However, I must urge members in the strongest terms not to discuss the details of any individual case. This includes not discussing any motive or the guilt or innocence of any individual. Members should avoid wider speculation that comes with prejudicial in any future criminal trials. We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Mr. Speaker, people are rightly sickened by the horrific attack on Monday night in North Belfast. As you have just said, the man arrested has been in court in Belfast this morning and charged. I want to thank the Police Service of Northern Ireland and other first responders and members of the public who responded with such bravery. And our thoughts are with the victim. But let me be clear, Mr. Speaker. The acts of violence and arson that followed are totally unjustified. This morning I spoke with the First Minister, the Deputy First Minister and the Chief Constable. And the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland is meeting leaders in Belfast today. We are united in calling for calm and determined to restore order, support the police and all those on the front line, and ensure that justice is done.
Very, very brief chat about this awful thing that happened. The guy nearly gets beheaded, and all he wants to talk about is, oh, how good work the public did and all. Looking down all the time, emotive, not really showing any feeling as far as I could see. Anyway, like I said, observers and political opponents frequently criticise Starmer for that rigid reliance on scripts, pre-prepared scripts, and especially during high-stakes moments, which in this instance, which is a high-stakes moment, he literally, reading from the dispatch box notes, gives critics ammunition to label the response as mechanical and lacking of genuine emotion and resonance. It just doesn't, does it? It doesn't resonate with anybody. But it goes on, because I want to see, I'm just looking at the man's personality. I really can't stand him, but I thought, is there any redeeming fact for this man or not? So far, in the last months, I just see a declining, useless waste of space that's destroying our country. Anyway, let's play a question now that was very poignant. I'm not going to play all the question type because it's bloody boring, that's why, and most of the questions are boring. But anyway, it's the interaction between the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, which is more important. So let's listen to what Kemi and then his retort was.
Mr. Speaker, last night, America carried out strikes on Iran in response to the downing of a US helicopter. This comes just days after renewed attacks on Ukraine. The world is getting more dangerous, and the British public want to know this government is doing everything it can to protect our national security. So can the Prime Minister tell the House, will the full defence investment plan finally be published this week?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, can I agree with her that in relation to both Iran and Ukraine, we're facing a more volatile world than at any time during our lifetimes. Mr. Speaker, so far as defence is concerned, we've already taken a number of measures. We've increased defence spending from 2.3% to 2.6% in 2027. That's spending £270 billion over this Parliament. We've carried out a strategic review of defence, and we're committed to publishing the Defence Investment Plan before the NATO summit, which is in just a few weeks' time.
Well, no answer to that, was there? When is it going to get published? When are we going to get know about it? How much money are you going to give? Well, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. Waffle, waffle, waffle. And I'm certainly not alone in that observation and the frustration over Keir Starmer's evasion at Prime Minister's questions. He's always evading the question. It is a frequent point of criticism. He did not answer the question. More swerves than an out-of-control car heading off a cliff. He just doesn't answer. Okay, well, what can you do? Well, Kemi, have another go and see if you get him to give you a straight answer.
That sounded like a no, Mr. Speaker. We have wasted 2 years waiting for the Defence Investment Plan. Projects have been put on hold, and Britain is getting weaker with every passing day. It has been reported that the Chief of the Defence Staff told the Prime Minister that the Ministry of Defence needs an extra £28 billion. Will that requirement be met in full?
Mr. Speaker, we'll set out the Defence Investment Plan. It is it's a 10-year plan, and it's the first line-by-line review of defence budgets in 18 years. She's wrong to say it's been delayed by 2 years, Mr. Speaker. The Defence Strategic Review was published a year ago. We've been working through the details to make sure that we get this right. We are the government that has increased defence spending from 2.3 to 2.6%. I remind the party opposite, when they came into power, defence spending was 2.5%, and they took it down to 2.3%. We've taken it up to 2.6%. The defence investment, by 2027, the defence investment plan will be published before NATO. We've already signed 1,400 major defence contracts. 94% of those, Mr. Speaker, are with British businesses. And as the Defence Secretary said, that includes helicopters made in Yeovil, drones in Swindon, armoured vehicles in Telford. And we've also given our armed forces the biggest pay rise in over 20 years. That's Labour making investment to safeguard our national security.
Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the pay rise for the armed forces? But the Prime Minister says he's increased defence spending. He's not. This year, he's cutting it by £3.5 billion. What he's talking about is hopeful increases, which we don't know if he will do because there is still no defence investment plan. At a time that we need leadership, Mr. Speaker, we have total paralysis. It is reported that the Chancellor is only willing to find £13 billion for the dip. At the London Defence Conference last year, the Prime Minister said defence would be the central organising principle of his government. How can that be the case when he's giving the armed forces less than half of the minimum that they need?
Well, how was that then? Eh? Did he answer the question? These evasive tactics have drawn heavy fire from the opposition leader Kemi Baganoff, and scrutiny from even from the House of Commons Speaker, who in actual fact is occasionally intervened over Starmer's pivot and deflection in historical comparisons. You know, this dodging regularly sparks a debate over accountability. In other words, it was them over there that caused it. It was them over there. In the last 14 years, okay, just calm down, calm down. That was 14 years, and I'm sure they did some good, because where's the country now? Where's the country now? You've not been in power for 2 years. It's under 2 years, isn't it? Where are we now? Well, we'll come to that in a video too. Anyway, as you see, second attempt, no straight answer. Round the houses and blame everybody else. Well, I think, will she get an answer this time?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've already increased defence spend. We will spend £270 billion in this Parliament. What did they do on spend? They took it from 2.5% and they cut it to 2.3%. And we'll take no lectures from them. They sat at the heart of a government that failed our armed services.
Answer
They
the
cut
question.
frigates and destroyers by 25%. They cut mine hunters by 50%. They cut the army from 100,000 down to 72,000. They missed army recruitment targets every single year for 14 years, and they left morale in the armed forces at an all-time low. So we'll take no lectures from them on defence and security of our country.
Mr. Speaker, we've heard him say this about 100 times. There is still no defence investment plan. He is the Prime Minister now, at least I think he is. Should I be calling Andy Burnham instead to ask these questions? He is the Prime Minister, and the reason that he's dithering is because he doesn't know where the money is coming from. The military is waiting, the bond markets are watching. He has only three options: cutting spending, more borrowing, or higher taxes. We know that the Chancellor wants to put up tax to pay for it. Will the Prime Minister rule out raising taxes?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, she asked the House to simply ignore the last 14 years under what? So we may have failed the armed forces, hollowed them out, but please just forget all that and act as if it didn't happen. Well, you can't forget all that, given the damage they did to our armed services. Mr. Speaker, she says forget all that. I remind the House, when they left office, 47 out of 49 major defence contracts were delayed or over budget. That is what we are fixing. And you can't just scrub away and forget. I know they want to forget the last 14 years in power, so do the British public. That's why they're sitting over there. But, Mr. Speaker, we've increased defence spending. We are going to publish the Defence Investment Plan, and that will be done before the NATO summit coming up in just a few weeks' time.
Mr. Speaker, I remember when the last government led Europe when we were fighting the war in Ukraine. When Russia invaded, we were ready. We supplied Ukraine with munitions. We increased defence spending. But I wasn't asking him about our record. I asked him if he would rule out tax rises. He did not rule out raising taxes, so tax rises are coming. He can't borrow more because the markets have no confidence in him. The reason the Prime Minister is in this mess is because he maxed out on spending in his first two budgets. That's why the benefits bill is set to rise to over £2 £300 billion by the end of the decade. He has things the wrong way round, Mr. Speaker. He has a benefits plan until 2031, but no defence investment plan. Why not just cut welfare?
Mr. Speaker, she talks of leading the way on Ukraine, and I did pay tribute and do to what the last government did on Ukraine, and we stood with them. We continue to lead the way because it's the United Kingdom and France that are leading the coalition of the willing that have got the military plans together for security guarantees in Ukraine.
Blah, 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 blah. Camille Badenoch does a very good job. Unfortunately, she's not got a very good party behind her, but as a leader, I admire her greatly. I think she's doing a very good job. But unfortunately, the party's not up to it, and I think they won't get to power in this next election. But will anybody get to power in the next election? Because the way things are going, he's going to let China build a great big embassy in the middle of London. That's just a prelude to coming and taking over. Or let's have Trump over, or even, Putin could come. He's been in power 2 years, over 2 years, under 2 years, whatever it is now, long enough to stop blaming everybody else and start wondering why the country is in such a mess. It's because of him. Everything is the fault of the last government. But wait a minute. You've destroyed this country in less than 2 years. And another sting in the tail right now, which I find, and this is subsequently again because of his lies, yes, this man is his defence, or was up until today, his defence minister, and he's resigned. Even his own MPs can't sit and take the bullcrap that he spits out of his mouth, and the man's resigned. I don't blame him, because there was no money, and he reckons there's at least 10 billion short, and there's nothing forthcoming. So where is this plan? When will it be published? One day after his non-answers in regards to the UK's defence budget, the defence minister has resigned. Camille, there's your answer. They haven't got a budget because they haven't got the money. And when will this snake oil salesman, Starmer, step down and call a general election? Because much more of this, and we are all going to be wearing loincloths, throwing spears and living in mud huts, because the man is a maniac. Him and his cabinet. I've seen David Lammy sitting there nodding his head, his golf board, doesn't know his arse from his elbow, that one, but excuse my language. And next door, sitting with a straight back, hair that looks like a witch, and smugly sitting there thinking, I've spent all the money. Yeah, Rachel Thieves. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Now, his party has no faith in him. His country has no faith in him. And now the UK is a laughingstock of the Western world. He goes off to France and wherever it is, and we're leading the fight against Putin for Ukraine. At the same time, he's bankrupted the country, and everybody else around the world is laughing at him. I don't say you must support Ukraine, but hey, you also need to support the people at home. You also to stop people getting murdered every day. You can't even, you're protecting Ukraine's borders, but you can't protect your own borders, with rubber boats coming across. Absolute maniac, you man. Anyway, so if his faith, there's no faith in the country, no faith from him now. The UK's laughing. It's the laughing stock of the world. And also, it's the dumping ground of the third world. The truth is, he thinks the electrolytes, no, you, the people who vote, we'll use that instead, are beneath him. And he is above you. And you have to listen and obey. This is Starmer. This is the Orwellian. 1984 manifested itself in 2026. And believe me, if Andy Burnham comes in, oh my God, pack your bags, I'm going away. Because he is also a Fabian. And you know, I've told you many times before anybody else mentioned Fabians in past videos that they follow this ideology that was put together for the Labour Party when it was newly formed many, many years ago. George Bernard Shaw and writers and thinkers who have got no idea how to run a country anyway. And still today, they still have no idea how to run a country. So that's it for that. But I thought to myself, you know what? I can't leave everything on a downer. And I did watch, for my sins, I watched Prime Minister's Question Time all the way through, and it was completely boring. I had too much sticks at my eyes by the time it finished, and it's only half an hour. Good bedtime stuff, put you to sleep. But I want to go now, and finally, I want to show you this person.
Anna Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Running a business as a plumber, I was well used to dealing with dirty grubbiness, and there's still plenty of that dirty grubbiness behind me. Now, running a business is tough, so will the Prime Minister join me in backing That's the Problem campaign to cut VAT rates in hospitality? He didn't answer the question last week. Will he tell us today, yes or no?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm very glad that we're cutting VAT over the summer with our summer savings programme that I hope she will support. I do note we haven't heard much from the Green Party leader after he admitted he hadn't paid his council tax. Perhaps he's traded his houseboat for a submarine.
Was that a joke? Was that a joke? He might have told a joke. Anna Spencer, I mean, finally, the House of Commons now has its own certified plumber. A Green Party MP, Anna Spence, who dresses, well, her dress sense is worse than Angela Rayner's, who, in my opinion, she should disappear up the nearest sewer pipe with the rest of the Green Party, particularly Zach Polanski. For me, if that's the calibre of MP that can make its way into Parliament, again, we need radical change. And it is coming, so I urge you, please, Mr. Starmer, give us a Christmas present that we all want. Stand down, call a general election, and let's see where the country wants to go. I can tell you myself where I think it's going to go. But again, when you look on the serious note where this lady, what's her name, Hannah Spence, hippie plumber, she got voted in from constituents which has a high Muslim population. She got the Muslim vote. Why? Well, look at their manifesto. Look at what they want to do. Make all drugs legal. That's one. Open borders. Anybody can come. Tax the rich till they can't breathe. All stupid, ridiculous things that they're going to do. Anyway, that is another whole story. But I just say this. Listen, you folks out there. Put the pressure on. Put the pressure on. I believe that public displays of protest are valid in this case. We want this man gone. We want this government gone. Not we. You. Because I sit in where I live, I haven't got these problems. I can walk down to my medical centre and see a doctor right now. Okay? I can be diagnosed with something where I need an operation, and within 4 weeks I have my operation. Education over here where I live, the kids very, very good. We have our problems in some big cities because one of our, let's put it, political will was gone the wrong way in one sense. In Barcelona and certain other parts of big cities, we still have a problem, but they cope with it differently. Okay? I don't want to see people stabbed. I don't want to see people murdered. I don't want to see shops robbed and put out of business. And that's what's happening in the UK. I'm on my high horse, I know. But it's my rant, and I'm allowed me rant at least once a week. And hopefully I've talked sense. If I haven't, well, let me know. There's my socials running along the bottom there. And hopefully you'll get in touch. If you want to watch this video, there's many places you can go to as well. Most people go and watch me on Rumble. You just go for Rumble and look for search Best Before TV on Rumble. In lowercase, Best Before TV on Rumble, and you'll find me. Or on YouTube, or on Kick, or what else am I? On Twitch, many places. And if you just want to watch some old television, there's 24 hours a day of television. I mean, right now on the TV is episode 10 of UFO. Do you remember that? All old vintage stuff that nobody ever watches anymore, but I thought it was great to bring it back. It's very nostalgic, isn't it? Even the adverts, which they're not real, they aren't real adverts, but they're from the 50s and the 60s. Surprising how much things used to cost back then. Anyway, that's all from me. Have a great day, and until we see each other again, which won't be too long because there's so much going on. Oh, by the way, why I haven't made a big thing out of the Belfast thing is because I'm liable to put my foot in it, and I don't want to. I want the law to be done, I nearly started it, but I'm not going to. But you know what I mean. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the affected families, and I just don't want to say any more, because if I do, I'll put myself in right trouble. Right, so see you very, very soon. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, stay safe.